my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be always acceptable unto you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Please be seated. You know, when I was a child, I loved animals. You know, maybe you did too, a cat, a dog. But I didn't like stories about animals because the animal always died at the end. You know, you have the story of this incredible, wonderful dog, or the horse that the young woman just is the soulmate of, and at the end they die, and it's so sad. You know, I liked stories with happy endings. You know, happy ever after. You have some travails, and then you conquer the adversary, or you win the love of the person that you love, and you live happily ever after in triumph. But alas, that's not the way most of our stories go, is it? In fact, it's the way none of our stories go, because just like those beloved pets, we die. And often, before we die, we suffer. We find our joints don't work as well as they used to. We find that the things that we used to be able to do with ease now are difficult for us, and eventually maybe we can't do it all. We find aches and pains, and sometimes great pain, and nothing seems to make it go away. And so the stories of our youth, the stories of our culture, that are stories of triumph, they don't fit. And so we maybe feel frustrated. We maybe feel like we're failing. We maybe feel like we're not worthy. Jesus offers us an entirely different kind of story. The Beatitudes does not say, happy are those for whom everything comes easy, because theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It says, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. It is not a story that leaves out the realities of death. Blessed are the meek, not blessed are the victorious, blessed are the meek. Jesus offers us an opportunity to find meaning in a story that is not about triumph, that is not about happily ever after, on this earth at least, but is about a life of love and meaning. Today is All Saints' Sunday, and we remember people whom we look at their lives as exemplifying and showing forth God's love. And were those lives easy? I was considering the life of Florence Nightingale. You know, it's easy to sort of romanticize her, the lady with the lamp, the young, beautiful woman bringing healing. Don't you think that her life was difficult? She ran towards horrible suffering. Soldiers who lost their limbs and were being cared for in primitive facilities. Lice, bed bugs. She was a statistician and an administrator working in a system of bureaucracy. Do you think that she was not frustrated? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the merciful. It doesn't say your life will be easy. It doesn't say even that you will see triumph in your lifetime. But you will find meaning. You will find love, the love of God that does not desert you, even if the world does. Jesus invites us to find our lives in the story of his life. Story of his life, which was not one of ease, was not one of triumph, because he did not turn away from the lepers. He did not turn away from the sorrows and the injustices of his world. He looked for the strength to stay with them. He looked to God, his Father, for the strength to love. Today, we also remember saints with a small s. We remember souls departed, people whom we have actually known. I contributed a couple names to that list, and I can tell you that they were not saints with a big S. They were not perfect. But at their best, they reflected love. At their best, they leaned into the problems and the sorrows of the world that they encountered. At their best, they found meaning in a life not of happy ever after, not of the hero's journey, but of the real world, which has its ups and its downs and ends in pain, ends in loss, ends in death, but which we recognize as having meaning, being given meaning by the love of God, which transcends that death. That love of God, which at our best shines through the moments in our life and at the end encompasses us and lifts us into that love of God seen purely. So today, on this All Saints Sunday, I invite you to think about the story of your life in terms not of victories or losses, not in terms of triumphs, but in terms of meaning. Whom do you love? What sorrows and problems are you called to bring God's love to? What is the meaning in your life? And how does that meaning fit with the life of Jesus? Where can you see you as a reflection of some aspect of Jesus? Have you been meek and not returned anger for anger? Have you not passed on harm that has been inflicted on you, but instead have brought it to a close with forgiveness? Where have you thirsted after righteousness and stood up for those who are persecuted? Where have you mourned and been comforted? Where have you been a peacemaker? Where does your life intersect with the gospel? Because that is the true meaning that endures. That is your little bit of gift back to God for the gift of your life. And maybe you will rethink the lives of some of the people that you put on the list. Where do you see Jesus in them? Not perfectly, but in glimpses. And maybe it will give you the assurance that they are now at peace in that love of God.